Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are. My name is J. Eve Marie, and welcome back to another episode of Soul, aka Student of Life. Today's topic is another segment of our 4 stages of healing, and today we're talking about forgiveness. So, we're going to start today off with the Oxford definition of forgiveness. They defined it as to stop feeling angry or resentful for an offense, flaw, or mistake done by somebody else. Now, the definition doesn't say anything about reconciliation. It doesn't even say anything about having friendly feelings or even being polite. All it says is to stop feeling angry and resentful and to stop, basically, when you stop holding something against somebody or even yourself. Now, forgiveness is said by many to be the thing that allows you to move forward in life, and I wholeheartedly agree with this. I'm also aware that forgiving someone isn't always as easy as just making a decision. The decision is only the first step. So, how do you go about forgiving somebody or yourself? Well, it's very important to keep in mind that multiple realities are existing at the same time to co-create the world that we are all living in, the one that we share. Inside of each of our minds, it's like our own little world, right? So there are so many components and experiences that make up the storyline that shapes the character that we present again to the world that we share. So, this being said, this is all of your family structures, everything that you have experienced since you came out the womb till that very moment of whatever event you're trying to forgive someone for. Whatever happened, that is what shapes who you are to the degree of to the degree of the impact it has on you. And then there's the response factor. How do you respond to that? The cause and effect of all these things that happen and the way that we perceive them is what creates the storyline. Not only how we perceive the world, but how the world perceives us. So when we as social creatures, when we identify so harshly with these stories, we can allow the character that we are portraying to be shaped in a way that A, may be hindering us, and B, may not be true to who we are at our core, who we are without the storyline. In forgiving, we are acknowledging that each secondary character in our story is the primary character of their own. And we, in forgiving, are giving them the space to write their story how they choose to do so. And by doing this, it gives us the chance to take our power back as the primary characters of our own story as well. So, in extending this grace of forgiveness to others, we are doing so with ourselves. So, when I talk about taking your power back, that speaks more into the next step when it comes to releasing and rewriting. Yet, when you are forgiving, essentially that is what you are doing. You are letting go of the reins. You are deciding, I am not going to hold on to this thing that is hurting me anymore. That is what forgiveness is. And the reason why I have this the reason why I use this metaphor of the storylines is because I feel like it really encompasses the strong message that a lot of the mental pain that we experience, a lot of it is just ideas that we cannot let go of. And I know that that's really hard for a lot of people to cope with, because the reality is that that's exactly what we're doing. We cope as a society. We're not healing. Yet when we take the time to do the inner work and we take the time to try to change our lives for the better, if there's anything that you're met with, you are definitely met with a mirror. You are forced to look at yourself in this, if you're able to do so honestly. And there was a different segment that was done called From Victim to Victor, where I speak more about this, where it's about taking responsibility. In forgiving, that is that step where you are giving yourself the chance to take responsibility of your own life, where you could decide to do things differently. Learn the lessons this time so that it doesn't repeat in your life. Because, well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Don't be that person who complains about something but has no intention of really going down a different path. And I'm really not sure where that came from, but maybe someone needed to hear that. However, yes, in forgiveness, we are extending a grace to others as well as doing so with ourselves. So it's very important in the role of healing. And I believe that is why people say forgiving is not for the other person, it's for you. Because it truly does allow you to lift the weight off of you and lift that responsibility off of you so you could take responsibility for your own part. Now, a good portion of why I believe what I believe about this has a lot to do. It's heavily based on the 4 Agreements. That is a lovely book. I definitely recommend that you go read it, especially if you are listening to my podcast. I believe that for me personally, it has been a big reason why I've been able to heal the way that I have, because of how plainly the metaphors have been able to be related to my life. I feel like it was very easy for me, and I feel like it could be very relatable to very many other people who think in a similar way. So this step is heavily based on that, as well as I've seen how it works in my life. Again, a lot of this is based on personal experience, or all of it is based on personal experience. Actually, I'm not going to bring something to the public that I myself, as a lesson that I myself have not learned, which is why I profess these 4 stages of healing. And like I've said before, these 4 stages, they obviously are not concrete. Every person is different, so you may have to move some of the things around, do the steps, maybe cut some of the steps out completely, maybe only do one thing, and sometimes it only works for specific situations. But this is my default, and I definitely feel like in my life, this 4 stages have allowed me just to have a lot more peace when I'm moving throughout the day, because things happen. Things definitely happen, whether they're small or large things. We're going to experience things in lives, and these things are supposed to allow us to learn the lessons to make us better. However, if we're so focused on the stress and so focused on the negative aspect of it, it's really hard to learn the lesson. So I feel like these 4 things have just allowed me the peace of mind to just think clearly and think through things as I move throughout my day and I move throughout my life. So, yes, thank you for joining me today on another episode of Student of Life. I wish you all the best on your SOL journey. Bye-bye.